The UFC holds a conference call that promises big news. Strikeforce benefits from the demise of Affliction. And we preview the major matchups at Sunday's Sengoku event in Japan. This is the program that covers the entire world of mixed martial arts. This is the MMA Show. Yo, 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 and away we go. I'm the Fight Network's Mauro Ranallo. Coming up on this week's show, we're going to have the fallout from the demise of Affliction MMA. We'll get a fan's perspective on the ever-changing landscape of mixed martial arts. And Sherdog's Jordan Breen breaks down Sunday's Sengoku event in Japan. Right now, let's get to the news. The Ultimate Fighting Championship held a conference call on Friday where company president Dana White covered a variety of topics. You'll hear from the most powerful man in mixed martial arts coming up later in the show. At Wednesday's M1 Global Press Conference, it was announced that Fyodor Emelianenko will be in the upcoming EA Sports MMA video game. That was the huge news. Now, this should mean he won't be signing with the UFC since Dana White has publicly stated that anyone involved with the EA Sports game will never fight in the UFC. In an interview with Sports.ru, Alexander Emelianenko took a shot at his older brother Fyodor's manager Vadim Finkelstein, saying he wants to push his own business projects through Fyodor's fights. Alexander also said it is possible to deal with the UFC. Josh Barnett's management, XL Sports, has issued a statement regarding his California State Athletic Commission drug test that he failed prior to his scheduled bout with Fyodor Emelianenko at the since-canceled Affliction card that was supposed to take place Saturday. According to the statement, Barnett vehemently denies intentionally ingesting any banned substances in preparation for his bout, and he was extremely disappointed to learn that Affliction had made what the statement refers to as a hasty decision to cancel the Trilogy card. Results of the B sample have yet to come back. Meanwhile, Barnett will be competing on a pro wrestling show in Japan on August 9th. The official weigh-ins for UFC 101 will take place Friday, August 7th at Wachovia Center in Philadelphia from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern. It's free and open to the public, and a live stream of the weigh-ins will be broadcast on Yahoo Sports and UFC.com. Sherdog is reporting that a heavyweight bout between Ben Rothwell and Chase Gormley that was supposed to take place at the ill-fated Affliction Trilogy event will now take place at UFC 104 October 24th in Los Angeles. Rothwell has won 14 of his last 15 fights, while Gormley has won all 6 of his pro MMA bouts. According to MMA Weekly, a shoulder injury will keep UFC welterweight Brad Blackburn on the shelf for up to 9 months. The former IFL fighter is 3-0 in the octagon. On the heels of one of the most tumultuous weeks in mixed martial arts history, the demise of Affliction's MMA promotion has seemingly boosted the Strikeforce event set for August 15th at the HP Pavilion in San Jose, California. The promotion announced earlier this week that the Anato Babalu Sobral versus Gegard Mousasi bout that was supposed to take place at Affliction Trilogy will now be held instead on August 15th, and Sobral's Strikeforce light heavyweight title will be on the line in a 5-round fight. Mousasi will be making his U.S. debut riding a 12-fight winning streak. It will be Sobral's first title defense since beating Bobby Southworth for the belt in November of last year. Fight Network Radio had a chance to talk with Mousasi, who signed a 3-fight deal with Strikeforce.
I signed the contract, so it should be a done deal. My manager talked to me. We were already negotiating with Strikeforce. Obviously, the Babalu is the Strikeforce champion, so he has already a contract there. And Scott came from Strikeforce, and he's an honest man, and it worked out very well. So we signed the contract, and we're going to fight. I've met Scott personally, and we talked. And like I said, I feel he's an honest guy. You know, he's a guy you can trust. And there's also possibilities for me to fight in Showtime for boxing. You know, so it works out very well for me. So we'll see how we do in the fight, and also maybe boxing.
Mousasi also informed FNR that he will no longer be competing at 185 and may even go heavier than 205.
No, middleweight I can't go anymore. So it's from now on 205, and maybe in the future at heavyweight. But because after this fight I have to go to heavyweight again for the Super Hawk tournament. So slowly, but I want to stay at 205 for a couple of years before I go to heavyweight.
Man, the Strikeforce event has definitely been snake-bitten when it comes to injuries. The MMA show has learned that lightweight champion Josh Thompson, recovering from a broken leg suffered in training, has been deemed medically unable to fight, so his rematch with Gilbert Melendez will not take place on August 15th. Instead, Mitsuhiro Ishida, who handed El Nino his first loss, will step in and compete in what will be a 5-round title bout for Melendez's interim lightweight title. The MMA show has learned that former IFL welterweight champion Jay Hiron has signed a 2-fight contract with Strikeforce, and he'll face Nick Diaz on the August 15th Strikeforce event in San Jose, California, to determine the promotion's first ever welterweight champion. Hiron was supposed to face Paul Daly at this Saturday's canceled Affliction card. He'd also been negotiating with the UFC, but his involvement with the EA Sports video game proved to be a deal breaker. According to the Army Times, veteran middleweight fighter Tim Kennedy has opted to forego his military career for a full-time mixed martial arts one. Kennedy, who was assigned to the 7th Special Forces Group at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, took an 18-month break from MMA to serve in Afghanistan and other locales as a member of the Army Special Forces. He made his Strikeforce debut in June with a second-round submission victory over Nick Thompson. He unsuccessfully lobbied the National Guard for assignment to its elite athlete program so he could continue both his MMA and military careers. According to the Associated Press, former UFC heavyweight title challenger Jeff Monson has pled guilty to malicious mischief for spray painting an anarchist symbol on the Washington State Capitol back in 2008. It is being reported that prosecutors will be seeking a jail term of 90 days and a $22,000 restitution fee as part of a plea deal. Monson is scheduled for sentencing October 1st and will remain free until then. A foot injury has forced Japanese bantamweight Kenji Osawa out of his WEC 42 contest with Ronnie Yaya, and WEC newcomer John Hossman has agreed to take the contest on short notice. Hossman has won 5 straight fights, while Yaya has recorded wins in his last 2 WEC appearances. Headlined by a bantamweight title fight between current champion Miguel Torres and challenger Brian Bowles, WEC 42 takes place August 9th. The main card will air live on Versus. The Times of Northwest Indiana is reporting that former WEC lightweight title challenger Rich Crunkleton will return to action after an extended injury layoff to take on WEC newcomer Dave Jansen at WEC 43 September 2nd at the Covelli Center in Youngstown, Ohio. The Nevada State Athletic Commission will be looking to vote on a handful of proposed regulatory changes when it convenes for a regulation hearing on August 19th, including the potential institution of limited instant replay. A battle of former UFC middleweights headlines MFC 22 Payoff October 2nd at the River Cree Resort and Casino just outside of Edmonton, Alberta. Jason the Athlete McDonald faces Travis the Serial Killer Looter in superfight competition. Last Saturday night in Moncton, New Brunswick, Robin Black, who was featured on last week's MMA show Canadian Corner segment, captured the Elite One MMA bantamweight title with a first-round rear naked choke victory over Stephan Poirier. It was Black's second consecutive win over Poirier. Despite being outweighed by 50 pounds, late replacement Anthony Ruiz knocked out former UFC heavyweight title contender Gan McGee in the Pure Combat 9 home turf main event last Saturday at the Visalia Convention Center in California. The end came 113 into round 3 when Ruiz dropped the 6'10" McGee with a right hand, followed him to the mat, and forced the stoppage. The Florida-based Extreme Fighting Championships is going to be holding a show in Berlin, Germany on December 12th. According to a report on MMA Junkie, XFC has partnered with a German-based promotion to produce a series of MMA events in Germany, Switzerland, and Austria in 2009 and 2010. The XFC's next event, XFC 9, will take place September 5th at the St. Pete Times Forum in Tampa, Florida, featuring a welterweight title fight between undefeated prospect Roger Bowling and UFC veteran War Machine. The main card will be shown live on HDNet. Japanese MMA promotion Dream is headed to Osaka for Dream 12. The 16,000-seat Osaka Joe Hall will host the event on October 25th, less than 3 weeks after the conclusion of the promotion's featherweight and Super Hulk tournaments at Dream 11 on October 6th. According to Japanese MMA website Nightmare of Battle, Dream 11 could be the final 2009 broadcast for the promotion's television partner Tokyo Broadcasting System. No matchups for Dream 12 have been revealed. Speaking of the Japanese MMA scene, it's time for the MMA show's Fight Preview. Coming up on Sunday, World Victory Road presents Sengoku 9th Battle, featuring the semifinals and final of its Featherweight Grand Prix and a lightweight title fight at the Saitama Super Arena in Japan. Tournament favorite Hatsuyoki tangles with compatriot Masanori Kanehara in one of the Featherweight GP semifinal bouts. Both are 2-0 in WVR. Sherdog.com's Jordan Breen helps us break down the action.
Hatsuyoki is probably the most talented and certainly the most accomplished of the fighters remaining. It could possibly be competitive due to the fact that Masanori Kanehara is a decent fighter, still improving, very well-rounded, and the fact that Hatsuki has always sort of had the issue with flakiness. He doesn't always fight to his best advantage. Probably not going to be too interesting. You're probably looking at Hatsuki being dominant, if not getting him out of there within 5 minutes via submission.
The other Final Four contest pits the 14-0 Marlon Sandro against surging tournament dark horse Michihiro Omigawa, who entered the tourney with a 4-fight winless streak.
Marlon Sandro is just another one of those guys out of Nuba Uniao who's a brilliant fighter. I lean towards Marlon Sandro because I think he's such a good technical grappler. If he's able to get top position, it's not going to be super exciting, and it's probably, you may look at some stalemate kind of tactics, but he's definitely going to be able to pound, be able to pass guard a bit, and really work a top game, even if it's a relatively lukewarm and tepid one on Michihiro Omigawa. But if Omigawa's stand-up has continued to improve and he can sort of really show off the skills that he showed on the feet against Nam Phan and get all over Marlon Sandro early, then you could be looking at Omigawa going on to the finals. I definitely think that's probably the most contentious fight on the card and easily the toughest one to pick just a winner.